Holy smokus, it ain't no jokus. XRP holders, Trump just did it again. As expected, as we've been talking about over the past few days, Trump saw the yields, the 10-year note yields getting very close to 4.5, even potentially going over 4.5, and decided to switch up the tactic once again. We'll talk about how this could affect XRP and the rest of the crypto market. Plus, we got a very interesting Clarity Act update. Some fighting, right? The banks can't agree. What does this mean? Will it be delayed? Some voices are saying no, this is going through. Some voices are concerned. We're going to cover all that. How are you guys doing? I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice. I'll try to power through. And we'll talk about what's happening currently in the crypto market. Please read the disclaimer. So right now, XRP is sitting at $1.42, up 1% on the day. You can see XRP has been moving nicely here over the past few hours, even had its highest level since we had that breakout, that small breakout back here over my head, which was back on April 27th. And so this is, showing some movement. Bitcoin is at 81,050. Again, this is, some of the highest levels that we've seen from Bitcoin ever since back in January. Even I think the last time, end of January, where we saw levels similar to this. And so the confidence is growing, but Bitcoin is performing stronger than XRP right now. If we go and we look at the graph of XRP versus Bitcoin, you can see that the graph has been coming down, and we're seeing a little bit more strength. A lot of this, again, has been coming from the Bitcoin ETFs that have been bought up significantly from that bottom zone that we had seen. Let's remove a little bit of the noise here. And you can see since the bottom area and we had that breakout, a lot of Bitcoin ETF, especially IBAT, is being scooped up, and that's helping the price of Bitcoin recover a little bit stronger than XRP. But we know that this thing is cyclical. We know that sometimes what happens is that Bitcoin will be a little bit stronger and then altcoins will follow, and altcoins potentially will have a lot bigger move because they go both ways. They drop down stronger than Bitcoin usually, but they also recover stronger than Bitcoin. And so this will be very interesting to see over the next coming days what will happen. Now, the big news over the night, on the nighttime while I was sleeping or trying to sleep, I couldn't sleep very well, is we were looking over the past few days at the yields, right? And I kept telling you, when the yields get cooking over 4.5 or near 4.5%, the 10-year note, Trump pulls back. It happened with the tariffs. It happened with that ultimatum that he gave a while back with the 48 hours, and it happened again, right? So with the yields getting very close to problematic areas, President Trump says Project Freedom in the Strait of Hormuz will be paused on the request of Pakistan and other country. He says here, based on the request of Pakistan and other country, the tremendous military success that we have had during the campaign against the country of Iran, and additionally the fact that great progress we have made toward a complete and final agreement with Representative Iran, we have mutually agreed that while the blockade will remain in full force, Project Freedom, the movement of ships through the Strait of Hormuz, will be paused for a short period of time to see whether or not the agreement can be finalized and signed. So again, we had a situation where he said he was going to do something. Iranians retaliated a little bit. The yields started going up, and surprise, surprise, suddenly we're changing tactics, right? And of course, if we go and we look at what's happening with oil, it's very, very close to the $100 range. This happens. And guys, gals, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is why I tell you every day, I don't know what's going to happen in the market. Trump can do something, not do something. He did. We predicted this. Okay, we predicted this. I told you this was going to happen, but I don't know. Like, I can look at what's happened in the past, try to figure out what he's going to do, but he's a wild card and it affects the markets. What the Iranians do, it's a wild card. financial data that can come out. It's a wild card. So as always, I just want to remind you that this video is for educational purposes, for entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence before you decide to invest. Also, remember that I will never contact you on social media asking you to sign up to anything or send me anything. Those are scammers, those are imposters. Please be very careful out there. We do have the new Facebook page. And it was funny because I'd reported a lot of scammers on Facebook. So when I started the page, I started posting. I don't know if you noticed, but for like a day or two, I didn't post. I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't notice that I was posting, but it wasn't posting. And then there was a message. It wasn't even a pop-up. It was like on the bottom that said, you need to, verify that it's you. So once I saw that, I did that. But because I flagged my persona, the Avilev, moneymaker Avilev, so it flagged me, which is good. And already the scammers, I changed my thought, the picture, right, the pic, and the scammers already flipped their pic as well. So you try, but what are you going to do? You can go to the social media platforms and try to get them to help. But at the end of the day, I try to spread the word about this. So just remember that. Okay. I also want to talk a little bit about our partner BTCC. If you're interested, we have a big competition going on right now. Also, you get a discount on trading fees and you can get a VIP 3 status for 1 month. You deposit over 500 USDT. And we have the trading bonus as well. So the more you trade, the more USDT you can gain here, and then you can go and use that in your account. It's till the end of the month here. So take advantage of this and start trading, start taking advantage. There have been a lot of shakers and movers over the last few days. We had, of course, Luna Classic. Sky AI has been moving, ZEC has been moving, B has been moving here. So there's been a lot of movers over the past. ICP suddenly has woken up. So there's always opportunities in the market. And again, link is in the description down below. It is an affiliate link. They are a partner of the channel, so I will get a commission. Thank you for that. It helps support the channel. I try to take least as amount of partnerships and sponsored videos as possible. But it's with your support, I can minimize that to the lowest amount. Again, someone was like in the comment section, do you get paid by XRP or by Ripple? No, I don't get paid by XRP or by Ripple. I've never taken a promotion for a specific token, and I never will. That's just one of my rules. So if you ever see me doing that, it's not me. I've either been body swapped by an alien or it's an AI video and it's not me. So if we get back to what's going on here with the Clarity Act, optimism has gotten higher. The probabilities for the Clarity Act passing have gotten higher, over 60%, but there's still some, concern, right? It's still 40% no. And Eleanor reports here that a divide is forming in bankland over yield compromise. Big banks with consumer-facing arms are taking issue, while those without it appear more comfortable with the final language. Some community banks are also signaling support, though ICBA, the Independent Community Bank Association, which represents them in Washington, is voicing concerns. I don't know if they're going to be able to change anything right now. It seems that the markup is going to happen, even if they have, what's the word? I forgot. Complaints, right? But that wasn't the word I wanted. And she says here, the trades are planning to ramp up outreach to Senate Banking Committee members beyond Senator Tillis and Albrook's ahead of the markup. The lead negotiators appear to suggest the issue was closed in a joint statement last night. So it seems that there's not going to be any changes on this point anymore. And this is what's going to be going up to the markup. Interesting. We'll see what happens with it. Listen, I hope it passes. There's a lot of optimism that it passes, but anything can happen in crypto land. Anything can happen in Washington. And we need to be ready for the possibility that Clarity Act doesn't pass. Probably it's going to pass, but maybe it doesn't. Okay. This is an interesting tweet here from Vincent. We talk about Vincent a lot lately. He's got good tweets. It says, Ripple treasury play is a lot bigger than you might think. Rather than convincing banks to use Ripple, XRPL, XRP for their client transfers, they simply do directly with their existing clients. That's 13 trillion in annual payments. Now, in the world of corporate, you can spook people by simply putting them all on chain. It's a slow process with lots of smaller POC trials and handled steps. The biggest challenging on chain are sufficient liquidity to fulfill the payments, ensuring the chain ownership is clean and compliant with AML, CTF, and KYC. These take time, and he thinks here that we'll see larger LPAMs and deeper fiat XRP order books using permission access over the course of the year. And funny enough, you might see a lot of adjacent industries taking advantage of this without Ripple. We've talked about this $13 trillion on chain in the next 5 years. Brad Garlinghouse at Consensus 2025 says he expects over 30% of Ripple treasuries, 13 trillion, to be on chain, right? Highlighting American Airline as prime client for reducing friction in several times by utilizing Ripple treasury. I think we're going to continue to see this going forward, going to continue to see more and more. Let's listen to what Brad actually had to say.
The American Airlines of the world. I mean, these are big, ranging from Fortune 50 to mid-sized companies who are benefiting from a dashboard to manage their liquidity, to manage all of the interactions with bank accounts around the world. That's a great business that's growing, but it is bringing them along the journey gently. So, okay, your American Airlines making a fuel payment into the Peruvian sol. Okay, today that's going to take you 4 days and it's going to cost you this much because there's only one correspondent bank that'll enable that. Tomorrow it's like, oh, we could just, in a UI, in the interface of G Treasury, now Ripple Treasury, presenting, hey, we can do that in real time at this cost, and having a treasurer who's managing that payment make that trade-off. And it's going to be crawl, then walk, and then run. And those 13 trillion, I'll go out on a limb and say 5 years from now, I'll say 30% of that in 5 years will be on chain in some way. And I think that is the opportunity. I think it's also the opportunity, equinity. Like, I think the powerfulness of like accelerating adoption by buying the largest, I think, transfer agent.
So again, 30% of 13 trillion, it's 3.9 trillion on chain. That's a significant amount on XRPL. And so that could benefit XRP. Of course, people will say, oh, it needs to be more, but it's still a significant amount of money. Okay, significant amount there. Now, yesterday we talked about Joel David. I keep referring to him by his nickname. For some reason, I don't know why that video kind of didn't pick up. Usually the morning videos are a little bit better. But we talked about, him selling XRP. And he said, and he got a lot of criticism for it, right? And he kind of responded to this and he said, that's 26 million XRP that he traded Bitcoin for. But once XRP hit 10 cents, he had millions of dollars at risk. And he very much did not like that at the time. This was someone posted it, but then deleted. He said, everyone has had the same opportunity to buy and sell XRP that I did. I did the same thing with Bitcoin and Ethereum, and nobody seems to have a problem with that. I really reject the idea that selling is somehow morally inferior to buying, and have advocated that everyone sell when it is their personal finance interest to do so. I never argued people should sacrifice their own financial benefit for that of others, and rejection of the idea is what initially attracted me to the early Bitcoin community. People are now angry at him because, he's a big voice in the XRP community, and yet, he sold his XRP, or a significant amount of XRP. Of course, he still has his Ripple shares. I stated this yesterday. Everybody's got to do what's best for them. If somebody wants to hold long-term a specific asset and feels comfortable holding a high-risk asset at a very, very large position. Remember, he had a huge position, right? And for someone that suddenly, has the possibility to get money, I can't be angry at someone for taking profits and for parking that into fiat, into cash, right? It is what it is. That's what his decision was. He still has a lot of other assets that are XRP related, but I understand the backlash, but I also understand why he did it and the reasoning behind it. And you can criticize, but he can also rebuttal. Now, this is interesting. The Federal Reserve is loading up on U.S. Treasury. The Fed total Treasury holdings are now up to 4.4 trillion, the highest since July of 24. Since December, the central bank has bought 325 billion in treasuries. As a result, treasuries now account for 65.9% of the Fed's total assets, the highest since March of 2008, when the figure stood at 68.5%. This also brings the total asset of the Fed balance sheet up to 6.6 6.7 trillion, the highest since May of 2025. The Fed is propping up the treasury market. We talked about potential of quantitative easing. This is the first step. Of course, the theory behind everything was that quantitative easing was going to fuel the crypto market. It never really happened last year. And again, high interest rates, no QE, and it didn't cook up to boil for the banana zone to happen. Maybe it shifted right? Shifted right. Yeah, maybe we shifted right on the graph into 2026, into 2027. We'll see how this plays out. I'm feeling my energy is starting to really plummet right now. So don't forget to check out BTCC if you're interested. You can go and you can check that out in the link in the description down below. Also, don't forget to drop a comment and smash that like button. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. And like I always say, let's make a lot of money.